In a world where masks are worn tighter than skin and silence screams louder than truth, there are those who don't need to see your face to know your fears. They don't shake your hand. They don't hear your voice. Yet somehow they read your soul. 9 spiritual leaders. 1 unspoken connection. Because the real battle was never outside. It was in your mind, your doubts, your shadows, the war between who you are and who you're afraid to become. This isn't about mysticism. It's about mastery. When you confront the chaos within, when you stop running from the darkness, you don't just find light, you become it. Listen carefully, because this isn't about comfort. It isn't about peace. It isn't about pretending everything is fine while your mind burns in silence. This is about the storm inside you. The one you've been trying to outrun your entire life. You feel it, don't you? That pressure in your chest. That war between who you are and who you could be. The voice that whispers you're not enough. And the other voice that dares you to become unstoppable. Most people spend their lives escaping that chaos. They numb it, distract it. Bury it under noise, validation, and empty applause. But chaos doesn't disappear. It waits. It grows stronger in the dark. And one day, it demands to be faced. Here's the truth: no one tells you the storm inside you is not your weakness. It is your power untrained. Every doubt is raw energy. Every fear is compressed potential. Every scar is proof you survived something designed to break you. The mind is a battlefield. And if you don't take control, your fears will. They will write your story. They will shrink your dreams. They will convince you to live small, so you never risk failing big. But what if the chaos is not there to destroy you? What if it's there to forge you? Steel is born in fire. Diamonds are created under pressure. And warriors are shaped in internal war. When you stop running from your darkness, when you sit with it, study it, dissect it, something shifts. The fear that once controlled you begins to obey you. You start asking different questions. Not why is this happening to me? But what is this building inside me? Not why am I so broken? But what if this is how I become unbreakable? Inner chaos forces you to confront the truth. It strips away illusions. It tears down the masks. It exposes your insecurities, your envy, your anger, your pain. And that exposure feels brutal. It feels humiliating. It feels unbearable. But it is honest. And honesty is power. When you master your mind in the middle of emotional turbulence, when you choose discipline over impulse, clarity over panic, growth over comfort, you don't eliminate chaos. You command it. The same mind that once sabotaged you becomes your weapon. The same intensity that once fueled anxiety now fuels ambition. The same darkness that once made you doubt yourself now gives you depth, resilience, edge. You don't become fearless. You become dangerous to your own limitations. Because strength isn't the absence of struggle. It is the decision to stand tall while your world shakes. It is the courage to look into your own madness and say, "You don't own me anymore." So let the storm rise. Let the pressure build. Let the chaos roar in your head. Because buried inside that noise is a version of you the world has never seen. And when you finally harness it, when you finally realize the storm was training you all along, you won't just survive the darkness. You will become the power that commands it. Your mindset shapes your reality, not your circumstances, not your past, not the people who doubted you, left you, underestimated you. The battlefield was never out there. It has always been inside your skull. Reality bends to perception. 2 people can walk through the same fire. One comes out burned, broken, blaming the flames. The other walks out forged, sharper, colder, unstoppable. Same fire. Different mind. And that's the part that terrifies most people. Because if your mindset shapes your reality, then you are responsible for the world you live in. every excuse, every limitation, every silent surrender disguised as, "I tried." The mind is a projector. It throws your beliefs onto the screen of your life. If you believe you are weak, the world will show you obstacles. If you believe you are a victim, the world will hand you villains. If you believe you are unstoppable, the world will test you like one. Pain is not random. Chaos is not personal. They are invitations. Invitations to upgrade the way you think. When everything falls apart, your mindset decides what that means. Is it proof that you're cursed? Or proof that you're being prepared? When you fail, is it confirmation that you're not enough? Or evidence that you're stretching beyond your comfort zone? The difference is not talent. It's not luck. It's interpretation. Weak minds look at the storm and panic. Strong minds study the storm and learn how to dance in it. You've been conditioned to fear discomfort, to avoid risk, to stay small so you don't get hurt. But growth is violent. Transformation is uncomfortable. Reinvention feels like death before it feels like power. The old you has to collapse. The insecure thoughts, the limiting beliefs, the story you've been telling yourself about why you can't. You must dismantle them, thought by thought, excuse by excuse. Mental dominance isn't about positive thinking. It's about disciplined thinking. It's about catching the voice that says, "I can't," and interrogating it. It's about replacing "why me" with "try me." You don't control every event, but you control the meaning you give it. And meaning is everything. Give pain a weak meaning, and it weakens you. Give pain a powerful meaning, and it strengthens you. This is why some people break under pressure, and others break records. The world reacts to your internal state. Walk into a room doubting yourself, and people feel it. Walk in grounded, certain, aware of your value, and the energy shifts. Opportunities gravitate toward conviction. Your mindset is not a mood. It is a weapon. Sharpen it, train it, feed it thoughts that build, not thoughts that destroy. Because once you understand that your inner dialogue writes your outer destiny, you stop negotiating with fear. You stop entertaining weakness. You stop identifying with your lowest moments. You begin to rebuild. And when you change the way you see yourself, the world has no choice but to adjust. So guard your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Master your thoughts, and you don't just change your reality. You create it. Not the version you perform. Not the mask you polish for the world. Not the carefully edited personality designed to be accepted, liked, applauded. Silence doesn't care about your image. It strips it away. When the noise fades, when the distractions shut down, when there is no one left to impress and nowhere left to run, you meet yourself. And that meeting can be terrifying. Because in silence, the excuses grow loud. The insecurities echo. The doubts you buried start clawing their way back to the surface. You suddenly hear the voice that says you're behind, that you're not enough, that you'll never catch up. And without music, without notifications, without applause to drown it out, that voice feels deafening. Most people can't handle that, so they stay busy, constantly stimulated, constantly surrounded by noise. They scroll to escape. They talk to avoid thinking. They fill every empty second because they're afraid of what waits in the quiet. But silence is not your enemy. It is your mirror, and mirrors don't lie. In silence, you see your habits clearly. You see the patterns that sabotage you. You see where you've been blaming others instead of taking responsibility. You see the gap between who you pretend to be and who you actually are. That realization hurts. It bruises the ego. It shakes your identity. It exposes weakness. But exposure is the beginning of power. Because you cannot dominate what you refuse to confront. Silence forces confrontation. It forces you to sit with discomfort, to analyze your fears without distraction, to question your motives, to ask yourself whether you're living intentionally or just reacting to life. And here's the truth. The strongest minds in the world are built in silence, not in chaos, not in validation, not in constant movement, in stillness, in those lonely nights where no one sees your struggle, in those quiet mornings where you choose discipline over comfort, in those moments when you hear the voice of doubt and decide not to obey it. Silence sharpens awareness. It teaches you emotional control. When you sit with anger without exploding, when you sit with sadness without collapsing, when you sit with fear without running, you develop mental endurance. You realize feelings are temporary. Thoughts are negotiable. Reactions are choices. And once you understand that, you become dangerous, because a person who is comfortable in silence cannot be manipulated by noise. They are not desperate for approval. They are not addicted to attention. They are grounded, observant, calculated. They move with intention. Silence also reveals your potential. Beneath the fear, beneath the insecurity, beneath the chaos, there is a deeper voice, calmer, stronger, wiser. The voice that knows what you're capable of. The voice that refuses to let you settle. But you can't hear it if you're constantly escaping yourself. So embrace the quiet. Let it be uncomfortable. Let it expose your flaws. Let it dismantle the illusions you've been hiding behind. Because in that raw, unfiltered stillness, you will find clarity. You will find truth. You will find the version of yourself that doesn't need noise to feel powerful. And when you learn to master yourself in silence, the world's chaos will never control you again. Because you've already faced the loudest battle of all, the one within. But most people never turn the handle. They stand in front of it trembling, imagining worst-case scenarios, convincing themselves that what's on the other side will destroy them. So they retreat. They build a life in the hallway, safe, predictable, small, and then they wonder why they feel trapped. Fear was never designed to cage you. It was designed to test you. That tightness in your chest before you take a risk, that voice telling you to stay where it's comfortable, that surge of adrenaline when you step into the unknown, that's not weakness. That's the threshold. Every level of your growth is guarded by fear. Every breakthrough you desire is hidden behind discomfort. You want confidence? Walk through fear. You want strength? Walk through fear. You want transformation? Walk through fear. Because fear is not the enemy. Avoidance is. Avoidance turns potential into regret. Avoidance turns dreams into what-ifs. Avoidance is the real prison, the silent sentence you give yourself when you choose comfort over courage. Look back at the moments that changed you. The risks, the confrontations, the decisions that made your hands shake. None of them were easy. All of them were terrifying, and yet they expanded you. Fear exposes the edges of your identity. It shows you exactly where you are small, exactly where you doubt yourself, exactly where you've been playing safe. And that exposure feels brutal. It attacks your ego. It challenges your story. It forces you to question whether you are truly capable. That's the point. Fear is a spotlight. It highlights the areas where growth is waiting. But here's the shift. The powerful, dangerous shift. You stop asking, "How do I eliminate fear?" and start asking, "What is this fear teaching me?" You begin to study it. You dissect it. You realize most of it is imagination. A projection of pain that hasn't happened. A story your mind created to protect you from discomfort. Protection feels safe, but it also keeps you stagnant. Mental dominance begins when you feel fear and move anyway. When your heart races but your steps remain steady. When your mind screams retreat and you whisper back, forward. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act in its presence. And every time you walk through that doorway, something inside you shifts. Your self-trust increases. Your resilience deepens. Your identity upgrades. You start to see yourself differently, not as someone who avoids hard things, but as someone who confronts them. That's power. Because once you prove to yourself that fear cannot stop you, the world loses its grip on you. Rejection becomes feedback. Failure becomes training. Uncertainty becomes opportunity. You stop being controlled by what might go wrong and start being driven by what could go right. So the next time fear shows up, don't curse it. Thank it. It's pointing to your next evolution. It's standing in front of the doorway to the life you claim you want, and the handle is right there. Turn it, step through, and watch the prison disappear behind you. Everything else is noise. The world will try to convince you that destiny is luck, timing, connections, circumstance. But destiny is shaped in a place no one else can see. In the silent decisions you make inside your own head, your mind is either your greatest weapon or your most dangerous enemy. Uncontrolled, it drifts toward doubt. It replays failures. It magnifies criticism. It builds imaginary disasters and calls them reality. Left untrained, it will sabotage your potential before you even take the first step. But trained? Disciplined. Hardened by awareness, it becomes unstoppable. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your mental conditioning. When pressure hits, when chaos erupts, when life punches you in the mouth, you won't act based on motivation. You'll act based on programming. So the question is simple. Who's programming your mind? Your fears? Your past? Other people's opinions? Or you? Mastery begins with awareness, catching the negative thought before it roots itself, interrupting the self, doubt before it becomes identity, refusing to let one failure define your entire story. It's not glamorous. It's not loud. It's a quiet war fought daily, thought by thought, belief by belief, reaction by reaction. When something goes wrong, your untrained mind says, "This is the end." Your mastered mind says, "This is data." When you get rejected, the weak mind says, "I'm not enough." The trained mind says, "I'm not done." That shift changes everything. Because destiny is not a single moment. It's the accumulation of controlled responses. It's built when you wake up tired, but choose discipline. When you feel doubt, but choose action. When chaos surrounds you, but your internal voice remains steady, calm, calculated, commanding. Mental dominance doesn't mean you don't feel pain. You will. It doesn't mean you don't experience fear. You will. It means you don't let those emotions drive the car, you feel them. You analyze them. Then you decide. And that decision, that microsecond where you override impulse with intention, that is where destiny shifts. Because your future is shaped by patterns. And patterns are built by repeated thoughts. If you think like a victim long enough, you build a victim's life. If you think like a leader long enough, you build influence. If you think like a warrior long enough, you build resilience. The mind sets the standard. Raise the standard, and your life must follow. So guard your focus. Protect your energy. Be ruthless about what you allow into your mental space. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every setback deserves your emotion. Not every fear deserves your obedience. Train your mind to see opportunity in chaos, strength in struggle, growth in pain. Because once your mind is aligned, disciplined, sharp, intentional, the external world becomes secondary. Circumstances lose power. Obstacles lose intimidation. Pressure becomes fuel and destiny. It stops being something you wait for. It becomes something you command. Master your mind, and you don't just survive the storm. You decide where the lightning strikes.